Emanuel Rose from Strategic eMarketing, talking today with Justin Mcgill from Leadfuze. Justin, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for taking time to talk about marketing in the year 2022. It's dynamic, isn't it?
It's changed a little bit for sure, but that's what makes it fun.
Well, just explain a little bit to me about what Leadfuze does and your involvement up to this point.
Yeah, so Leadfuze is essentially a B2B sales prospecting automation platform. So we primarily spend a lot of our time gathering data and parsing that and putting that into profiles. So you might see a lot of data from like LinkedIn, for example, for somebody's job history. And then we marry that data up with different data providers, separate crawling and kind of, attach contact information to those profiles as well. And then we make that all, searchable. So it's an easy to use interface. You can, build prospecting lists, and you can do that automatically. So you can have our system every day feed your lists, 50, 200, however many leads per day, and build that list for you automatically and send that off to third-party tools like, Limlist or Mailshake, and have your outbound campaigns running. Again, just all hands off, right? That's the idea, is this sales utility running in the background ultimately.
Well, it sounds like you have access to a lot of different data sources. How many places are you pulling from in order to enrich those files?
Yeah, so the person data is essentially coming from LinkedIn as far as their professional backgrounds, and then for additional information, it's either just algorithms. Like, for example, we have like an estimated salary, which is something that recruiters like, right? So estimated salary, we're pulling that just based on regional data, the job titles that they have, right? And kind of building that from there, or taking job postings, right? Because that's another thing that we have is job postings. And so you can search by companies that are hiring for marketing help, for example. And you can kind of infer some salary data that way as well. So there's some algorithm things like that. We have different data partnerships with companies that are integrated with CRMs, with HR platforms, applicant tracking systems, right? So we kind of have this multitude of sources that are compiling. The challenge there is then keeping all of that up to date, right? So we kind of use that LinkedIn record as that source of truth. If we cannot marry that profile or that data to somebody's LinkedIn profile, then it's not going to be something that we add to our system. So that way it keeps it, a little more complete, and it's not so fragmented.
Yeah, that's interesting. LinkedIn is the source of truth.
Yeah, really. At least for job data, right? I mean, there's no other way to get that information in a consistent manner.
Yeah, and then how do you position Leadfuze as far as what your value prop is versus other companies that do this kind of data enrichment?
Yeah, I think just the length of time we've been doing it. I mean, we've been around since 2014. This is not just some like leaked LinkedIn database or something that I have seen circling around with, some companies that pop up on a, semi-regular basis. It's the updating schedule. The fact that we're able to update, hundreds of millions of profiles on a quarterly basis is, it's almost impossible, right? Like it's a very difficult, very expensive thing to do when you're working with that many profiles and needing to keep that information up to date. So the regularity of these updates. So, I mean, we're literally in the middle of one now. And we update those every quarter. And so that's happening literally as we speak. And then, I think just aggregating all that data, but being focused just on that, right? We're not trying to do other things. We had an email functionality built into our software previously. We're going to go down that whole path, adding, dialer and everything else. But we just felt like the data side of it was a big enough challenge that, we wanted to kind of be best at something versus, trying to be this all-inclusive thing. And so we just decided to kind of go all in on data. But yeah, that's our focus.
Yeah, and I think that's what's impressive to me about the platform is that pretty much no matter the vertical that I go after or the region, no matter how small the region is, like I was doing a search for Southern Oregon, Medford, Oregon, right? Very small tertiary market. And it produced thousands of leads. So
Nice.
the
Yeah,
focus on what, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, if they're on LinkedIn, all right, if your target market is there, then we'll have them. I mean, sometimes they're not, right? Like some people also they want consumer based leads. I mean, we're not really focused on the consumer market per se, like in terms of homeowners, for example. But those are people that work somewhere, right? So we have their professional information. But yeah, like if they can be found on LinkedIn, we can marry that up with like, contact information. You'll find them, they're there.
You might mention like Mailshake and Limlist. Are there other platforms that you're able to integrate with easily, or is it just through Zap, or how does somebody manage that?
Yeah, so we have several different native integrations. We also have Zapier, which obviously opens you up to thousands of other apps, but we have native ones with Mailshake, with Limlist, with Woodpecker, with Reply, different CRMs, HubSpot, Close, Salesforce, right? So we have all of those as well, Pipedrive. So several different integrations like that. And what those integrations allow you to do is keep your lists in Leadfuze synced to those tools. So anytime a lead gets added, for example, to a list, you can then have it automatically sent and fire off a campaign in Limlist or Reply or whatever outreach tool you're using. And so again, kind of going back, like it can be as hands off as you want it to be, right? Or it can be as hands on as you want it to be. But that's kind of the idea, is using those integrations and allowing that automation.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's nice tool to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's something where you want that automation, right? You don't want to waste your time going in trying to build these lists and then exporting the data and then importing that somewhere else. And it's not efficient, right? Quite frankly. And so we wanted as much automation as possible. It's what I wanted ultimately, right? And so that's kind of the core focus is in that automation.
Nice. Are there any like outstanding success stories that you have from a client or two?
There's several. I mean, we have tons of reviews. So like if you look us up on Capterra or G2 or anything like that, I think it's, 4.7, 4.8, something like that overall, right? So there's a bunch there. We haven't done a great job of capturing, actual case studies to share, right? But I know like one recent, an agency, marketing agency, they have several user accounts for all of their clients. And they have essentially our unlimited package, which is not even something we publicly promote, quite frankly, but we do have an unlimited plan, and agencies get a lot of value out of that because they can build not only outreach type lists that we've talked about, up to this point, but in addition, there's a whole other way to use this data, which is to build ad targeting campaigns. So you can use this as a custom audience essentially, right? So we have personal emails, company emails. Well, when someone registers on Facebook, they're not using their company email. They're going to use their personal email. And so we'll keep those personal emails intact, even if they're undeliverable, because, they're able to be matched at a higher clip. And so you take those and you build a custom audience, and now you can deliver ads to those people, as well. So not only are you reaching out to them via cold email, traditionally is how our system is used, but we have mobile numbers, we have company numbers as well. And so I think there's like 40 million or something mobile numbers in the system, right? So you can have different types of campaigns is the idea. And so agencies that are, helping out with like paid ad campaigns, that can see higher returns just because you can target exactly who you want, not just people that like a certain page or have a certain interest, But if you want the CMOs at companies using HubSpot, right, like that's something you can pull from the system and deliver ads to them. So it's just kind of another way the system's being used. But that's an account that's expanded to several $1,000s a month now, because they're adding their clients and everything else to their account. When you have those sub users, they can come in and basically pull from that unlimited account, like that mother account, right?
Right.
And they can pull those and build those leads themselves. If that's a model, right? Like some people don't want their clients to access it. They'll just build the list for themselves and they'll deliver the spreadsheet or whatever. So it just depends on, I guess, the model that the end client has there, but that's just something that came to mind.
Yeah, no, that retargeting is a powerful feature. That's nice. Besides that, what's the one biggest trend that you're seeing in marketing right now, in B2B marketing?
I would probably say personalization. I think there's some really cool advancements happening with AI to generate like some intro lines to cold emails using things that are happening in the world, right? Or it could be what that company is doing. They just released a press release about whatever. You can reference that in your intro line, or their job history on LinkedIn, or you know what I mean? Like something that's tailored specific to that individual so that it's not just the same message going out over and over again. There's some really cool advancements there happening that I think are pretty exciting. I've been a big proponent of personalization. Like, when we would do our own outbound, it's like we'll take our list and we'll actually add an additional column to the spreadsheet, and I'll have a VA go and search their website, their profile, find something kind of unique that would be specific to them and stand out in that message. And then we can, when we're sending an email, we'll call in, okay, column H, right, is whatever personal. And so add personal line here. And so that's a way to do it, on a manual basis. And that's how we've always done it. But now with some of these advancements I was talking about, even that is getting to a point where it can be automated. So some really cool things there going on. So yeah, that's just some ideas for how we're doing it.
I love it. Oh, that's awesome. Anything else people should know about data enrichment before I let you go?
Well, I think we're our big project for this year is we're working on an API. And so the first version of that is going to be an API, like a list API that allows you to interact with the leads in your list and, do what you want with those. But then from that, we'll also have like a search API, which will allow you to actually run queries, and you can embed this data in like your own platforms if you wanted to, or build a similar type of tool in some way, right? So those are the, kind of, that's like the focus this year is getting that released. But yeah, nothing else too exciting, I guess, other than just keeping all this data up to date.
Well, that's a big job, and I'm glad you're doing it because I enjoy I enjoy working with the tool that you've created. Leadfuze is an important part of my business, so I appreciate that.
Nice, awesome.
Well, thanks for taking time today, Justin. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a great week.
Absolutely, you too.
Okay, thanks.